Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I think this is starting. Maybe. If I remember correctly, we had to change some permissions last time for chat. There we go. Let's see if that works. Can you guys try doing something in chat? Say hi. There we go. Cool. Cool. Welcome, ladies and gents. This is another study session that we're doing now. I know last time there's a little bit more structure to it. I had a plan. We were going to go over study habits and such, and I was relaying my test experience. Today, we're not quite so structured. I've got the practice test information up. I also have the LMS Thinkific, the learn.FRSecure.com up as well. So the goal for today is a little bit more like let's talk. What do you guys have questions about? And good evening and good day and good morning. All of that wherever you guys are from. Welcome. It's just me here with you guys today, so we don't have any instructors. It's actually a busy week. I think actually pretty much all of them are over at RSA. I am going to do my best to look at also Discord because I realized last time I wasn't really paying attention on Discord and there were some questions and such. So I apologize for that. So the the so really what we're looking for is if you guys have questions, if there's any topics that you guys want to go over that we've covered so far in the test. Anything that's related to the class and the sessions in general, you can hit me with. If you want to be like, hey, what's going on in security? We have security news and such as well that we can go over. There's a lot of really crazy stuff going on. Um, so, um, good evening and welcome. So, what do you guys have for me? What questions do you guys have now? I'm not going to lie. My day to day, is a small piece of the CISSP. There's some items in here which I don't use all that often. Say, for instance, we're going to get into encryption. Um, we talk about encryption, we go over it, but it's not something I get super detailed in. So if you ask me to encrypt something, I'd be like, I can figure it out, or I can Google that. So it's one of those things where the CISSP covers a lot of ground. There's a bunch of different pieces, and it's almost like within each one of the domains of the CISSP, you have a bunch of different specialities within there. So IDBM, Abiba, etc., or etc. We haven't covered that yet, have we? Um, I'm going to have them. I'm not going to talk on that. I'm going to have the instructors work with or talk with you on that. They're going to be able to put it together much better than I can for you because that's not one of the areas that I touch all of that often. Um, there is um, there's a lot of information there, and I don't want to give you bad information, honestly. I don't want to give you the wrong information because it's not something that I consider myself an expert in or subject matter expert. Um, Information security analyst position interview. Areas to focus on. Wow, that's a whole big area. It depends on what you're looking for or what sort of job the focus on is in an analyst. So now, are you looking at vulnerability management? Are you looking at like say the risk piece of it? Um, do we have maybe a little bit more fine print on that? Not fine print, but a little bit more um, focus. So question about which app or site would we recommend to practice CISSP questions? Um, Myself, I would recommend CSecure. It's what I used, and actually CSecure is this right here, which this is our practice. We can do practice tests here, which is I got it. I had it set up for one. Um, Now that's not to say that there's a lot of other pieces that you can use. I know that say like inside Cloud and Security actually has some really cool offering for flashcards. I think I might still have some of this up. Um, Let me throw this over here. So this is inside Cloud and Security. Now you might notice them or recognize them because I highly recommend them. Oh, let me change this to everyone. I highly recommend Inside Cloud and Security, their YouTube channel, because it has a wealth of information. Them and Destination Certification are probably two of the big ones. But also at the same time, just to throw it out there, so if anybody wasn't here last time, I went over my study habits that I used when I was studying for the CISSP. A big part of that was taking notes, handwriting notes, because I know that my brain, when I write something, it helps me commit it to memory. But part of that was also building flashcards, handwriting flashcards. You can get the little 3.5 whatever cards off of Amazon for super cheap. I bought 300 of those, and I used almost all of them. I think there was maybe 10 or 15 left over for when I was going through the test. And then I'd have a couple different piles for my cards. Like I'd go through them. If I knew them, I'd stick them in one pile. If I had trouble with them, I would stick them in another pile. If it was kind of 50-50, I'd stick them in another pile. And that's also something that I would use to try and get information together. Flashcard app, yes, would help. Um, it's a lot more mobile. It's a lot easier to have something in your pocket, just that you can pull out and like if you're standing in line for something and go through a couple of them, um, that I do recommend it. There's that. There's also practice tests you can do online. There's practice uh, like flashcards and such that ISC has them as well. Let's see. Let's see. Quizlet is good. I think the key with Quizlet is that other people make them. It's not like say official, although all flashcards are like that, right? Um, the Just double make sure that you've got good information there that's reputable. So yeah, the Amazon package, they do have that where there's a bunch of practice tests as well. Um, Funny story, I bought that book when I was going through it. The practice test questions, I ordered it, I don't know, a month or a couple weeks before. The package showed up with no book in it. It was gone. And I never got my practice test book. I was very sad. LearnZap is another one. Um, a, a good one there as well, which I don't know if you guys can post links, but if you guys want to, you guys can for these different apps and such. Lisa, yes. The information will be available afterwards. Say, for instance, this year we did change the over to Thinkific for I don't remember what we had last year, but that information was up for about a year or so. So I'm guessing that it's going to be the same thing. Pocket Prep is another one I've heard of. I've not heard of Brainscape. I can't speak to that one. I've heard good things about Pocket Prep. So also the Thor series over, I believe it's on Udemy, is also really good. I've used Udemy for other things, not CISSP, and it's worked well for me. Wait, there's no answers to the practice test. They don't give you that information so you can check it. So Marlene, you're asking for suggest practice questions that mimic the exam. No practice question that I've ever seen for the CISSP does a good job at mimicking the exam. When you go and you sit down at the exam and you start reading through those first couple questions, you will be like, wow, nothing has prepared me for this. That is everybody's reaction. That was my reaction. That's reaction of a friend that just recently passed the exam, I think 2 weeks ago now. He's like, nothing prepared me for those questions. Um, that's what stinks about it is that there's stuff that's kind of similar and that can prep you for getting through the questions and what to look for them in them, but there's nothing that quite prepares you for the actual questions themselves. I hate to say that, but that's how it's set up. So, and we will at some point be getting into CCCure here, and we will be doing some practice test questions here, and I'll show you the key pieces, things that are mimicked here that are similar to the CISSP. Um, the one of the big things that I can give you, and you'll see it here, is that when you're going through the questions, a lot of times there'll be two answers if it's multiple choice that you can immediately eliminate. So if you read the question, I always recommend reading it twice, go through the answers, and say like, well, hey, this one doesn't apply, or this one doesn't work, and this other one doesn't. You can immediately remove those two. Then you're left with two more, and then you have to choose the best answer. Now, both of those answers might be right. They might be technically correct, but you have to choose the best answer of those two. That is a big piece of it. Um, let's see. Yeah, so I imagine that the CC exam is similar. I've actually thought about seeing if I could take it and see like what the comparison is. Um, but I'd also be worried that it's been almost 3 years now, and if I took the CC, I wouldn't be able to pass it because it's just that would suck, right? It would suck a lot. Um, so and I apologize if anybody said anything in chat or tried to get my attention, and I've missed it. Please go ahead and repost that because it's hard to catch everything. So, Michelle, you will need to, if you haven't already, you need to register with ISC, and then you can, I believe you can schedule the exams from there. I know for my area, it was through Pearson's View for the testing center. So like you basically go through that and they'd be able to give you dates that you could take the exam. It's like anything else. It's like, for instance, it's an exam center. That's what they do. So they're doing all different types of exams. So it's just finding the open spot for it where that works for you. So it's not like they hold them at very specific times, at least not in the US. I don't know how they do it in other places. Let's see. So Michael, asking about those 2 months. So like how to prep for the exam. So my suggestion would be focus on the CISSP. Don't don't try and go into, say, another subject, another certification, because while there's some that are similar, they're not going to be the same. And if you want to pass the CISSP, I recommend you focus on it. What I would do is make sure you read the book, of course, go through and say, for instance, one of the things I will be showing you here, I know I keep saying this, is identify areas where you're deficient and go back and read those areas of the book. Go through flashcards, do practice tests. I highly recommend that before you are able to sit for the CISSP, is that you are able to sit in a chair for 2 to 3 hours going through exam questions with no headphones on, no earbuds, no distractions, no phones, nothing like that. You need to be able to prep yourself for being able to sit in a quiet environment with only hearing people clicking or typing on a keyboard for up to 3 hours. Because in today's day and age, we are so used to outside noises and distractions, it is hard to focus for that long. So, yep, that's a good way to do it, Michael. Very good way to do it. I can't speak to Lindell learning courses. I'm not familiar with them. Let's see. Uh, the exam questions are generally going to be multiple choice. You're going to get some true and false. You might have some like drag and drop certain areas into item. There are some multiple choice where there's multiple answers where you have to select like, select three options here, or what are the three items. Those are the ones that I saw in my exam. I never had to actually like say type anything into the system that was like, this is the reason for this and this is why type of deal. Um, so yes, this is an absolute beast. There's a lot that goes into it. So I won't lie, the when I did mine, I didn't really use the study guide. I won't lie on that. I kind of built it on myself, although I did have two different books of the like the CBK style books. Um, Rushy, I hope you got your name correct. CC dumps are illegal and not allowed. They are unethical and they go against the canons of the CISSP. Also, because generally the way that that information is obtained is illegal, so I do not recommend them. If it is found out that you've been using them, they will take your CISSP away. Um, it's kind of like it's like sharing the book. It's a copyrighted piece of material. You're not supposed to share it. Let's see. Um, I think that Dwayne, I think that they had at one point remote proctoring, but I think they removed it. That was during the pandemic. Let's see. So, Balaji, I'd say I was shooting for 90% on everything, is where I was going for. Um, you will never, so um, from what I've heard is that if you fail the exam, you'll get your score. If you pass the exam, you will not get your score. So we don't know, you know, so it's a thing like, they don't want people comparing, like saying like, well, my I passed within 890 and you only passed within 800, so I'm better than you type of thing. Um, let's see. So Sean, there is one, CISSPprep.net. I know it's been posted in Discord. Let me grab it here. And I can chuck this in chat as well. So there's that, and here's this. So this is the link that I just threw in chat. This is a breakdown of the changes to the exam that just occurred about a month ago now. You will see that this notes if there was anything that was changed. Anything in bold here that's highlighted is the change. Um, and then you also see stuff that's crossed out or blocked out here, like that's been removed. Now, this is early information. The CBK for the changes has not been released. And I do want to say that when you start looking at the people who do this mentoring, like the destination certifications, the inside cloud securities, those groups that are really big on these tests, they basically say that with the changes, it's still a small percentage of the actual test. So even if, say, like you're using the CBK from the 2021 changes, you're gonna probably be okay. You just need to say, for instance, look at this document, look at these items, make sure that you're familiar with them. Um, yes, CCNA will definitely help. It's honestly like A plus. I think that they go into some of that stuff as well. It's been a long time since I've done the A plus though, but there is a lot of there's a lot of crossover with the CISSP and a lot of the other exams. Um, so that one, Lavanya, and once again, I apologize if I get anybody's name wrong. I'm horrible. Um, that is a good one. I went through it. I checked it out. It has good information. It is from ISC, so it's that is their official one. All right. Let's see. Cool. Give me 1 second, ladies and gents. Just throwing something here in Discord. Cool. All right, sorry about that. I can't type and talk at the same time, or else I'll screw everything up. Let's see what we have. Um, Popular bad advice. Honestly, no. There isn't anything that I've seen that would be considered popularly bad advice. Um, I do know and it's come up, exam dumps are one of the ones that I'd say do steer clear of those, because it, like I said, it goes against the ethics part of the CISSP. You're cheating in that sense. They really don't like that. Um, but I think as long as you're getting your information from reputable sources, you're going to be in a good spot. Um, well, it's fresh in my mind. If anybody's heard of Sunflower Notes, that I hear is a really good resource as well. I did not use that. One of my friends did, and they highly recommended it. So generally for a dump, you will have to pay for it and it will be considered a dump. So like if you go to a website that says, hey, we have actual test questions, like if anything ever as it advertises test information as actual test information, actual questions from the exam, stay away from it because that's not what you want. Sunflower Note, see if I've got a link. Um, so like I said, I am not familiar with it. I did not use it. Um, and honestly, when I went to the web page, I was like, I don't know, this seems a little sketchy, so I never went for it. This is, oh, looks like we might have a good link in there. Yeah, Thor Teaches is also a good one. Hear a lot about that. That link that was posted by Jim, thank you, Jim. That is Sunflower Notes. So I recommend that one. Is it good to purchase an app for test questions? That's up to you. If you want to pay for it. Honestly, I did not. I guess I did. I use CSecure, which is it is a cost. There's a cost to use CSecure, and that's what I used. So I believe that was I think it was like $100 for 3 months or something like that. We can look at that. Although, let me do this. Click over here. I'm gonna put this in chat so you guys can see it, and then also use code FRSecure. FRSecure, 10% discount for CSecure. So I've got, there you go. So like I said, I use CSecure. I'm gonna show you guys CSecure. I've got it up here on the screen. We've got an account for it at FRSecure, and so that you guys can see what it is. It's, you know, a live demo. We'll actually go through the questions. We'll do some tests so that you guys can see what it is. Um, let's see. Um, sorry if my you guys can hear my keyboard is very clicky. Uh, got that. Cool. All right. So, would you guys like me to kick off a test here? And I won't lie, there's a bunch of different places to get the practice tests. Um, so this CCQ is not the only one. And also, if you look at, say, for instance, Udemy, and I know I see you guys all saying yes in there. We'll get there. Like Udemy generally has a lot of sales, and sometimes their information's on sale. Their classes as well. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing a quiz. So um, we're going to do. Let's go. Let's go 20 questions on this one. We're going to do pro level. I'm going to preface this and say that I will not get all of these right. Just to preface these are not they're not always easy. So, and there's some things in here that it's like, oh, wow, like cool. But so the question of how many levels are there? So these are the different difficulty levels they have in here. As you can see, this is the latest CBK of 2021. They have not updated this, but we've covered that already. I've already gone and pre-filled the domains for information that we've already talked about money? What money? When are we talking about money? Um, and this is, they also have other areas as well that you can get. So it's not just CISSP as you can see here for FRSecure. Anyway, um, so all right, I am not going to put a timer on this so that we can take our time. So here we go. So as we go through here, if you guys know the answer to the question, go ahead and shoot it out here. Like I said, we're going to look at these and we're going to do it how I would, or at least I'm going to try and do it how I would have when I was doing the CISSP exam. Although I'm not going to read it twice. So who's responsible for classifying data and deciding who can access that data? So this is a good one where, see, you guys are already all over this. I don't even get to talk through it. Come on, guys, give me a chance. I do agree with you that it is the data or information owner, but let's look at this question in the way of um, what can you do with the answers here if you didn't know this or you're trying to figure it out, right? Um, the when you're looking at these top ones, so data or information owner, that sounds good. A system manager doesn't sound as good to me. Data or information user, that's the user. The user's never going to know, so you can knock that one right out. And then a system auditor. An auditor is never going to do that as well. So if you need to, you can eliminate the second two and go from there, which we're going to select that, which we got it right. Cool. All right, next up, question 2. Which of the following is true of two-factor authentication? I use RSA public key signature based on integers and large prime factors. We haven't quite gotten to all of that yet. See, you guys, man, relies on two separate factors of authentication. That seems like a softball. All right, we'll just go for it. Cool. You guys got it right. Which of the following are well-known ports assigned by IANA? So, looks like there's a little bit more of a of a difference on these. So we've got B's and C's mostly. So so I would go with B. So this is the one I would go for. So I don't know that we've actually covered this information just yet. So the well-known ports, so these are going to be like firewall ports, or system ports, if you guys want to look at it from that way. Um, so yeah, I was going to say it's 1024 ports in total, and they start at 0, not 1, because it's based off of that's the way that they do it. RFC states that it's C. So yeah, so 0 to 1023. So if this was 1 to 1024, then maybe it's been a while since I've gotten into ports. So once again, you bring up a very good point, Erica. Always read these. When you're doing the exam, you want to read them slowly and take them in. Read the answers slowly. Let's see, what domain is this from? Does it say? Um, I, so what port? No, it doesn't say what domain it's from. This would be what? Which was the one that we just recently had? Hold on, let me check, because I believe it's going to be the one with all the same network information, the one that Chris recently did. believe it's domain 4. Yeah, domain 4. All right, continuing on. Which of the following is the best defined as a physical control? Monitoring of a system activity, identification and authentication methods, logical access and control mechanisms, or fencing. This is also a softball for you guys. Also, I don't think I saw any questions that were this short on the exam. Fencing. You guys got it. Congratulations. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that these are under the pro version of this. Which of the following countermeasures would be most appropriate to prevent possible intrusion or damage from war dialing attacks? Are you guys familiar with what war dialing is? Because you should be. Um, so making sure only necessary phone numbers are made public, monitoring and auditing for such activity, using completely different numbers for voice and data access, and requiring user authentication. I'll be honest and say I'm not even sure on this one, which one it is. Making sure only necessary phone numbers are made public. That would make sense, but still, I don't think that that's maybe. Monitoring and auditing, no. Using completely different numbers for voice and data access, that could be it. This is requiring user authentication. These are the two that I would go for. Seeing lots of C's and D's in there. I would probably say user authentication would be where I would go. Because even if you're using different numbers for voice and data, it's the same reason why this doesn't make sense. Because people are just trying numbers, right? They might not need to know exactly what that specific number is. Same thing here. Yeah, they're separate, but still there's no security on it. It's just different access. So that's why I went with that. All right. Do you guys want to see any information on this one? Do you guys care about that? Do you guys want me to show you these? Oh, this one's a big one. So, which reading this here makes the word dialing make more sense because they're just using a system to automatically dial numbers. Alexa, these are questions that are coming from CISSP. These are questions that have been developed and by CISSP, and there's some that have been submitted to them as well that they've gone and vetted and put in. All right, we are moving along. All right, Secure Shell, SSH2, supports authentication, compression, confidentiality, and integrity. SSH is commonly used as a secure alternative to all of the following protocols below, except. All except. This is kind of like having a not in there. So RSH, HTTPS, Telnet, and RLogin. So commonly used to secure alternatives, all except. So I'm seeing B's, a couple C's, an A. So commonly used to secure alternative to all the following. I'd almost, to me, I'd go B, HTTPS. When HTTPS is already a secure protocol, and it's also different. You're going to get that through like a web browser. You're not going to use something like you're going to use a command prompt to hit HTTPS. So it's used as an alternative to these other ones. So and it's except. So you're trying to figure out which one is not the alternative. So HTTPS. So you do use SSH as an alternative to Telnet. Same with RLogin. So HTTP is not. It's they're used for different things. Where although a lot of times now, like say like with devices, they'll have an HTTPS interface with them. Yeah, Telnet is not secure at all. If you ever see anybody using Telnet, just say please don't do that or block it. But yeah, you shouldn't be using Telnet at all anymore, unless you're playing with it. Port 23, isn't port 23 FTP? Or is that 22? 22 is SSH? Yeah, so I had it backwards. All right, moving on. See, you guys can tell that I don't get into this all that often. Although if we had like someone from like the pen testing team on here, they could probably rattle these off without any issue. All right, what refers to legitimate users accessing networked services that would normally be restricted to them? So what refers to legitimate users accessing networked services that would normally be restricted to them? Is it piggybacking, logon abuse, spoofing, or eavesdropping? So piggybacking to me, I've never seen that term used in this sense, so I want to go for that one. Logon abuse, I doubt it. Spoofing, I like that one. Eavesdropping, maybe. So we are all over the board on this one. I'm going to go for spoofing. For C, I don't think we have a Q on here. Is that an option? And I'm wrong. All right, what's next? What do I see the most here? D? D. It's not eavesdropping. Logon abuse? Hmm. Legitimate user accessing network services that would normally be restricted to them. Logon abuse. Interesting. Told you I want to get all these right. Why is that the case? Unauthorized access is restricted, blah, blah, blah. It's logon abuse. Interesting. I've never seen it referred to that way. Interesting. Keyword networked. Good point. You think they got that one wrong? It could be. So then I would challenge you, like, so if you guys ever go through these, and I did do this, the things that I thought might have had it, that they might have been wrong or I wasn't cool with, I would always go look this information up. This is a really good way to see what you know for the exam and things you don't know. So, for instance, if I was studying for the exam at this point and I got this one wrong, I would then be doing some Google searches, looking it up in the book, seeing what's there, seeing where this falls in there and getting more information on it. All right, moving along. Which of the following controls related to physical security is not an administrative control? Training, personnel controls, emergency response and procedures, or alarms. So there's a physical security that is not an administrative control. So you've got some A's and some D's in there, a B or two. So physical control that's not administrative. Training is administrative. Emergency response and procedures is administrative. Alarms. I don't know. Physical security control. I'd say control, that the answer is in the sentence. Who thinks I'm wrong? Alarms is technical? Good point. You think I'm wrong? Alarms are detective. So, okay, go ahead. Throw your answers in there again. After a moment, I'm going to see what I see the most of and then go from there. Seeing a lot of D's. All right. Nice. I want to know what the answer is there. Technical. Sorry, I'm just reading through this real quick. Okay, good point. It is a technical control. Cool. Good call. Once again, it'd be nice if we could all take the test together, get higher scores. All right, next. Which of the following is a wide area network that is originally funded by the Department of Defense, which uses TCP IP for data interchange? The intranet, the extranet, the internet, or the Ethernet? Um, this one's probably going to be fairly obvious. Yeah, I was looking for DARPA as well when I was reading the question. That's the first thing that popped into my head, the internet. They have that on computers now. Anybody get the reference? It's an old one, so probably not. Anyway, um, next up. Which of the following can be defined as an internet protocol by which a client workstation can dynamically access a mailbox on a server host to manipulate or retrieve mail messages that the server has received and is holding for the client? So, SMTP. Oh, we've also got IMAP coming up. So IMAP and SMTP are the two that I would be going. So exactly that. IMAP pulls data. So the phone can dynamically access a mailbox on a server to manipulate and retrieve mailboxes that the server has received and is holding for the client. Dynamically access. So is B. I'm seeing D's, B's. I'm seeing everything all over the place. I'm just gonna click one. I'm not even gonna look. I'm looking in chat. This one. That's nothing. I'm not gonna click PEM. I'm gonna click IMAP. So why is it IMAP? Um, honestly, lucky guess in a way. The keys though. So it's to manipulate and retrieve mail messages that the server is holding for them. Um, yeah, usually it's mail. SMTP is for sending mail, right? Once again, this is not my area of speciality. There's people that are going to be able to speak to this much better than I can. All right, next up. All right. Let's see. Interesting. Dang, you guys are fast. What would you call a process of validating that a user is who they claim to be? Authentication, two factors, authorization, or identification. You're going to validate that the user is who they are. Are you going to authenticate them or are you going to identify them? So the process of validating the user. Yeah, it could be authentication. Validate. So A's and D's. I'm seeing more A's than D's, so that's where we're going to go. We're going to go authentication. Good call, guys. Good call. Authorization and two factors. Two-factor obviously is not the one. I would have thrown that out initially. Authorization, no, because that's not what they're asking for. But authentication, you need to authenticate to that person. Authenticate. Yeah. Right. You've been asked by your senior executive staff to deploy a web server on your network, but you're worried about it being attacked and compromised. Where would you most likely want to deploy the server as to avoid exposing your internal network to a threat of compromised server? This one might not be as straightforward as it is to me, as you guys could probably tell as I was reading halfway through it. I knew what the answer was without even looking. Seeing lots of C's in there, which is what I would say as well. So a DMZ in that one. All right. Next, within IPsec, IPsec is not one of my strong points. Which of the following defines security parameters which should be applied between communicating parties, such as encryption algorithms, key initialization vectors, lifespan of keys, etc.? Security parameter index, security association, authentication header, and encapsulation security payload. I will say that one of the things that I spent a decent amount of time on is the difference between authentication header and encapsulation security protocol. So those bottom two when I was studying, and I'll just say that it did benefit me, if you guys catch my drift. So what do you guys say? I'm going to say I'm going to read this one again with an going to find security parameters which should be applied between communicating parties. So I'm seeing it all over the board. I'm seeing a lot of D's and B's. So next person that says I just got a C, so I'm going to go C. So this is the security parameters that should be applied between the communicating parties. So authentication header and the security payload are part of what's the communication itself. So it's going to be before that. So security association or SPI. So security association would be my next place that I would go to on that, which it looks good. So we've had B on that one. Good call to those who had said B. Can we see the answer? Of course. Nice big long one for you. So luckily it's that first real sentence is what gives it for you. And also on this one, it's as you guys have seen, it's not on all of them, but they give you information to know on the exam. Like I said, ESP and AH, authentication header, are both items that I spent a lot of time on. So I think that at one point there was even say like when we did that, there you could actually find like basically graphs that show you how or pictures of like how those are broken up to get a visual answer on them. These are pro questions, yes. All right, moving along. Um, give me one moment here, if you will. I'll let you guys take a real quick look because you guys are going to be able to find the answer before I do. I need to do this. Joyce, sorry, just seeing this now. IONA is the International Association of something. It is basically the group that specifies um, the or Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. I was way off on that. So it's basically IP addressing. They're the ones that say like these are the IP addresses and they assign them. Sorry, sorry. So we've got a big one here. I apologize for that. I was looking at my other screen. I'm gonna just kick these off. So this is a really good example. So you've got these four different paragraphs of information, which this is something that you will more than likely see on the exam. So you can read through all this information. At the bottom, you get to the actual question, right? So when you see a question like this, what you can do is you can go down here, you can read what the question is. You could even go through and read what the potential answers are for this question, and then go up and look at the information and pick out what you actually need to know from this. There's going to be a lot of fluff in here. There's going to be a lot of information that you don't need here. So it's good to know what you're looking for ahead of time before you start reading through all this. So how would you ensure that a single job position in your IT department has control or responsibility for all processes of a critical task like creating user accounts? How would you ensure that? So looks like separation of duties is what people are throwing into here. So collusion and need to know are not things. Collusion is not definitely. Collusion is two people or more working together for, generally it's used in a negative sense, like two people were colluding together to do something. That's like to get around, say, like having a like shoot, like a multi-step process or segregation of duties. There we go. Um, so um, my go-to on this would be separation of duties. Honestly, I've never heard the term demarcation of duties used in this sense. So that's what I would be going. Yeah, so collusion is generally to subvert controls. Good point, Jim. That's interesting, Steve. I've never heard demarcation used in that sense. All right. Any questions on this one? Do you guys want to see the answers for this? Nope. Nope. All good. I've got yes. So for those who answered yes, we're gonna show it to you guys real quick. So there you go. All right. Give me one moment here. Cool. All right. So scroll down this real quick for you guys so you guys can see it. I do this. Cool. Going next. All right. Another one where we've got a less here, but still a method for determining the level of risk to the organization's information if the data to be lost or compromised is what? Data mining, information classification, data modeling, or information control. So the level of risk to the organization's information. Data mining, no. Data modeling, information classification, maybe. Information control. Information classification is my go-to on this one. Looks like you guys are agreeing with me as well. Cool. We're all in agreement. Awesome. Thank you, ladies and gents. Cool. Any questions on this one? This one seems to be fairly straightforward, but I know that I remember, or I know that not everybody knows the same things I do. So I apologize if I assume that some people might. Nope, not straightforward. Let's give you guys this information then. They don't have too much here, although we do have an exam tip. All right, we're going to go ahead and keep going. Next. All right. Uh, wow, we're getting more of these. A non-electronic method of preventing disclosure of corporate data contained on discarded media includes a non-electronic method of preventing data disclosure. Physical destruction, a bucket of water, pit torrent wiper, degauser. Um, yeah, A on this one. I agree. Physical destruction. Um, just coming from someone who does information security risk assessments, always physically destroy devices that have storage on them. Pull the hard drives out and destroy them, whether it's put through a shredder or you're taking to the hammer to it, which maybe not as good as good anymore. Although with like the M2 chips and solid state drives, it's a little bit different these days. Not like the platters on a hard drive, but physical destruction of drives. All right, moving along. Question 16. I thought we were already on questions. Anyway, what processes can tell executive manager about the state of the organization's security program? Change control processes, a security audit, security incident logs, or internal risk assessment. So a security audit, B and D are the two that I'm seeing pop up. I would say a security audit. I agree with you on that. Let's see. Congratulations. Just a note, I do risk assessments. I don't do audits. I'm sorry if you guys ever get me doing an audit. If I ever do audits, you guys don't want me to be your auditor. Just saying. I'm too hard on people. All right, moving along. Which process in risk management is where we examine all potential threats, threat actors, impacts, a listing of our vulnerabilities and value of assets to determine approach to risk. Asset evaluation, risk likelihood, vulnerability identification, or risk identification. So there's a lot going on here in this one. Potential threats, threat actors, impacts, a listing of vulnerabilities, and value of assets. Seeing a lot of D's, a couple B's, C. Yeah, risk assessments are very good for remediation. Not the same as auto. There is a big difference between the two. So D, C, D, lots of D's. B's, sorry, D's and C's. So risk identification versus vulnerability identification. I'd say risk identification. I would go with D here. So you want to go out there and identify those risks. Vulnerability identification is cool, but that is already part of this up here. You're listing your vulnerabilities, so that's part of risk identification in this case. Asset valuation as well, risk likelihood as well. Honestly, they all roll up into risk identification. All right, now 19. Which critical enterprise IT function involves controlling the way endpoints are imaged, configured, remotely controlled, and safeguarded? Configuration management, centralized host management, host control, and endpoint control. So this are image, configured, remotely controlled, and safeguarded. Configuration management. So seeing a lot of A's. I agree. D seems like a red herring. B and C, no. There you guys go. You guys got it. Congratulations. And 20. What is it called when a user stays with an organization long enough that he or she continually gets more and more access to resources? I already know the answer to the question. Without removing access permissions they no longer need. Accumulation of privileges, trust but verify, mission creep, excess permissions. B and C I'm already throwing out there. Excess permissions maybe, but I go with A. So one of the things that you will see, and it's popped up here, is you are looking at, you want the best answer, right? Excuse me. So accumulation of privileges, watch, it's going to be wrong. It's not, it's right. So yeah, so like, so trust but verify, obviously not. That's not what they're asking here. Trust but verify is good. You want to do that, but it's not the answer, right? Mission creep is not, that's not a person, right? That's more of a business thing. Excess permissions, it's closer, and it is excess permissions is what we're talking about, but that's not generally the way that you hear it. Usually it's accumulation of privileges. The the what popped into my head was permission creep, honestly, when I was reading through that. So wasn't given the answers, but this is where we went. Answer explanation? Got it. There you go. Yeah, be careful when you're reading these because reading too fast will get you in trouble on this. And also, they don't do it here, but if there was actual A, B, C, D on here, I do recommend making sure that you click it. I know I've brought this up a couple times because I do this. If I read something and the first letter in the sentence is a B and I want that to be my answer, I know that I've clicked B instead of the correct answer, which might have been D before. Um, I've done that in other sort of test taking environments. So anyway, let's go ahead and finish this off. So submit answers. Cool. So we answered everything. Okay. And it's going to give us a score, which doesn't really matter here because we went through them all and we got all the correct answers. So this is a good sort of explanation or a good view of the way that this works for CSecure. You can see that it gives you a breakdown of the domains here. So if you were looking at this and you said, like if you're doing this and you weren't doing this in study mode and you got only 2 of the 5 correct in identity and access management, you know that that's somewhere that you would want to spend some time on. We did indeed ace it. And it depends who you are. I agree that these can definitely be harder, and these questions are definitely not like the ones that you're going to see on the exam at all times. The exam is going to be harder. The exam, they do a really good job at presenting you with questions that cover more than one domain, where these are focused on one domain, where they're going to ask you something and you're going to have to really think it through to be like, okay, what are they really asking here in this question? So cool. Yeah. And then we can go back there and we can review these questions if we wanted to. So that's good to know, Jim, that the CISS prep are really tough. Honestly, I'd say that if you find test questions that are hard and you get through them and they get easy, find something else. Find a different set of questions because each different type of test question that you go to or each different organization that you're getting them from, like CCQ is not going to be the same as CISS prep, right? So balance them out if you can. Do some from each if possible. I know that that's not always possible because there is a price tag on it. Like I said, I didn't do that. I pretty much only use CCQ, but there are a lot of free ones out there too. Like a lot of companies, like in order to try and get you to buy their product, they will give you free tests. Like they'll give you like free, like say maybe 25, sometimes 50 that you can go through and you can take through and use those. Alexa, I don't know. I can't speak to that because I don't know Learn's app. Others might be able to give you better insight than I can on that. Um, Bosun, I've heard a couple people recently say that they weren't happy with Bosun. Secondhand knowledge there. It's not me. Um, So if you do pass the exam, and this is Lisa brought this up. So if you pass the exam, you can then fill out a bit of information we have on the FRSecure website, and then we can do endorsements for you. Now, key piece to that is you need to pass the exam first because if you don't pass the exam, then there's not anything that we can do for you. You have to pass the exam, then we do it. Basically, what's going to happen is once you pass the exam, you'll get some emails and such. You'll be able to go into the website and put in a sponsor's number. Once you plug in that sponsor's number, you will then be able to basically fill out a resume where in that resume you have to say, okay, this is the experience I have and these are the domains it's related to. Once that's done, that gets submitted and then it gets sent to your endorser. So for instance, I've been doing some endorsements lately. So if you had my membership ID number for ISC, you would then you plug that information in, you basically build out your resume in their system, and then you'd submit that. And then I get an email saying, hey, Brian, this person is has requested that you endorse them. And then I can go and I can look through that information and then give you my endorsement from there. Here is the website for our website to request that information. And also for CCure, there is an FRSecure discount code, and that is FRSecure, all caps, I believe. So let's see. I have not used Pass for sure. I have not seen them. I've never even heard of them up to this point. Um, let's see. So, give me a moment. Sorry, I'm trying to. So it looks like there are some areas that are good. Looks like there's a question about some of them. So if you don't pass the exam, it is the same cost as doing the test again, unless you purchase like the I forget what they do, like the second chance or the something along those lines. They do run a program every once in a while where if you pay for it, yeah, peace of mind. Thank you. If you pay for it, you can pay additional. So that way, if you don't pass, then your second test is that same, like you get a second chance basically. So you're paying a little bit of extra, but you also get that second test for free or something along those lines. So they did not have that when I took the test. So I don't know like much about it. I know it's out there though. Let's see. What do we have? Um, sorry, the discount code for CSecure. Um, let me throw this in here just one more time, so there's no confusion. Just a note on that discount code. We don't get anything for that. It's just they are friends. We have a business relationship with them, so it's just gives you guys a discount. So nothing super special with it. I wish there was. It'd be cool, but um, yeah. Let's see. So let's see. So we went through that. We definitely have time. We'll probably at least get another one of these, another 20 questions or so in. Does anybody have any questions for me as we've been going through this? IT Pro Labs for CISSP, I can't say that I'm familiar with them. I will say there was two, um, there was two of the, shoot, what was it? It wasn't IT Pro TV. It was one of the other ones. Oh, I forget what it's called, that there was they had a CISSP like classes in there, but it was weird the way that they were set up because they never mentioned domains. I went through like three of them, and this was a long time ago. Also, this is when I was studying. I had access through my work. For as long as I was doing my work training, I was allowed to use the other modules, and they never mentioned the domains once, which I thought was weird. IT Pro TV, I don't. Do they have CISSP? Um, Gotcha. So they do. Siberia here is pretty good. Let's see. For those asking, Gentle Jack, the video will be available in the YouTube playlist for this. It will probably take a day or so for it to get up there since this is Zoom. It has to be downloaded and processed and whatever the magic people do who make all that stuff available. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea what they do. They're magicians. They're magical. Um, you do not have the ability to go back and look at your information. So the are you using all caps, Jason? Because I know it's worked recently. Um, so yeah, so the exam itself, so it's an adaptive test. So as soon as you answer a question and you say you want to go to the next question, you submit that question. It's done. You do not get to see it again. You do not get to go back. And also you can't skip questions. So you have to answer the question you're on in order to move forward for it. So just know that. It's not like other exams where you can like flag a question and come back to it, or you can go back and review your questions. Um, let's see. So Theo, that depends on how you feel, man. Um, or person, sorry. I'm assuming. The if you feel comfortable with taking them, go for it. So uh, you know, I it might be a little bit harder since I know that there is crossover between the two, but I don't know the fine differences between them to say that, it would be a bad idea. But that's just a lot of studying to get through, a lot of testing. Dude, the test is going to take it out of you. I promise you that. When you take the exam, you're going to be tired for the rest of the day. You're just going to be like, I'm good. Either that or you're going to want to go party because you passed. Um, I can't say how much harder CISSP is than the CC since I've not taken it. Um, Quizlet is cool. It has some good information in it. It's just the way Quizlet works is that people are making those quizzes for you. So they might not always be, say, as on point as a professional company putting out that information. Um, let's see. Yeah, I agree. At least the 2021 book. If you are looking to study, if not, the 20 the new version will be coming out sometime. I don't even think that they've released a date on the new CBK yet. But the 2021 book has enough information in it to get you there. You just need to supplement your training with other information. That is where this comes in really good, which I will drop this in chat again. So that way you know what you need to supplement you're training with. So for instance, this is new here. Make sure you know what it is. Make sure you do some research on it. Um, so let's see. Let's see. So Nick, for the endorsement question, I've not heard of that. I never had to do that when I did mine. And I've never seen anybody reference it in the endorsements that I've done. So I know that sometimes people will have like like something like from a previous job that says, they did work here and these are things that they did. But I don't know that, say, for instance, ISC is going to require that information from you. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. To Mateo, I'm looking at your information. So recommend CISSP and Security Plus at the same time. Um, I honestly, if you were looking at getting a CISSP and Security Plus, I would do Security Plus first and then CISSP. Because the Security Plus is a little bit lighter of an exam. They're going to cover similar information. The CISSP is going to be harder. Um, so take it easy, Jim. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead. Um, let's start another one here. I think 20 questions pro level. Just so I know that it came up earlier of what type of questions were on the test. This is the listing, the options that we have here. I will say that I never had to fill in a blank with anything. Um, if I think if it was like a fill in the blank type question, it would be more like a multiple choice that you would have to say, this is what would go into the sentence. I believe that the way that that's set up. Um, Sequence drag and drops. I want to say I might have saw one of those. Let's see. I'm not familiar with the different versions of Security Plus, like the 701, 601s. That's outside of my knowledge base. Um, yeah, so those are the different types of questions. Interesting information. Thank you, Alexander. All right, here we go. We're going to generate a quiz here. This is what's interesting about doing this sort of thing is that you learn a lot of information from the information that you guys are throwing in there. So thank you for that. Um, anyway, so a host-based IDS is resident on which of the following? Bastion hosts, decentralized hosts, central host on each enterprise host. I'll give you guys a moment here. I'm seeing a lot of D's in chat. I 100% agree. Congratulations. Yay, we did it. All right. Question 2. Which of the following backup methods must be made regardless of whether differential or incremental methods are used? This one is probably going to be fairly straightforward. You don't need full backups. Yeah, it's going to be a full backup on this one. I will note that some people have told me that they do full backups like every 3 to 4 hours. I've heard people say that and it's like, dang man, that must be a fast backup system. Um, that's true. Um, Always test your backups. Always make sure that they're being done. Always make sure that they're current. And do restoration testing. Not only restoration testing just on like, oh, I can restore a file. I will state that when doing assessments, a lot of people say like, oh yeah, we do backup testing. We do it all the time when people request it. That is not a test of your backup. That is actually doing, or that's not a test of the restoration of a backup. That is actually doing a restoration. Testing is different. Testing is going through and making sure it works properly, following your documentation to make sure that it's proper. And also, it shouldn't be just files. You should be doing everything. Sorry, I'm ranting. I apologize. Here are that word, storage management, is commonly employed in shorter data retrieval systems, very small, very large, or most data retrieval. Storage management. I'm not going to lie, I'm not sure on this one. Short data, very small, very large, or most data retrieved. What are you guys saying over here? HSM, you guys are saying C for very large. That makes sense. Hey, check it out. Thanks, guys. What about endpoint devices? In today's day and age, I'm assuming we're still talking about backups. In today's day and age, everything should be stored on a server and people are accessing it from there for the most part. You're looking at your, well, depending on how you're doing it. I would say that anything that should be backed up should be stored on a server. Um, I'll show you guys the answer because I know you guys are asking for it while I'm talking. You want that on the server. You want to be able to control that data. You want to know where it's at and what it's being doing. OneDrive, yep. I was actually going to say SharePoint and OneDrive are two of the biggest ones that we talk about because so many people are using them, but not everybody is. People are still using Google and such as well for those sorts of things. So that wouldn't, you know, it'd be the majority, but not everything. So yeah, and so also just to put another level of thought into that is, are you guys backing up your cloud services? Are you guys backing up your Office 365? Do you need to back up your Office 365? What happens if Office 365 goes down? I know it's not likely, but these are things that you do need to consider. All right, next up. Which of the following statements pertaining to biometrics is false? I know that Brad just talked about this, right? Was it Brad? User can be authenticated based on unique physical attributes. Which one is false? So false being the keyword here. User can be authenticated by what he knows. That's an interesting one. Biometric systems can have accuracy, and I'm not even going to read the rest. Yeah, it's B. Absolutely B. Because that is not, biometrics is not what you know. It's what you are. All right. Next up, packet filtering firewall looks at the data packet to get information about the source and destination address of an incoming packet, the protocol TCP, UDP, or ICMP, and the source of the destination port for the distributed service, desired service, dedicated service, delayed service. What is this asking? Packet filtering firewall looks at the data packet to get information about the source and destination address of the incoming packet, the protocol, and the source destination and port. So we've got some B's. We've got a couple C's in there. So the desired service, I agree. Distributed, I've absolutely not. Delayed, no. Dedicated, no. It just doesn't fit right. Once again, this is one of those things that you guys are going to come in with. I agree, it is a little bit strange. So honestly, this is actually a pretty good question in terms of the way it makes you really read the question, and it also really makes you read the answers. So which are two things that you are absolutely going to need to do. Yes, I can. There you go. Not a big one on this one. Yeah, like the destination port. Like so the port going over that, or the service that's being used on that port, right? All right, we're going to move on. An application layer firewall is also called transport layer, application gateway, presentation layer gateway, session layer gateway. So seeing B's coming in strong. Do we have anybody that disagrees with B? I think it's B, an application gateway. That one's kind of sitting in there in the question. If you guys do get any questions like this on the exam, consider yourself lucky. Just make sure you read it twice and you read all the answers twice. Always twice, if not more, if you have the time. In the context of access control, locks, gates, and guards are examples of which of the following type of controls? This one's pretty softball to us as well. It's going to be physical controls. Good call, guys. Good call. All right, next up, which of the following statements pertaining to asynchronous transfer mode, we talked about this with Brad, is false? It can be used for data, it can be used for video, it can be used for voice, it carries various sizes of packets. So we've got, the answers are a little bit more all over the place on this one. Mostly D's, a couple B's, one or two C's. Is false. It can be used for video, it can be used for data, it can be used. I'd say D, honestly, is probably what I would do. That would be my go-to. Silly, there's no F. So it carries various sizes of packets. They're all the same. So, and it doesn't matter, it's what's in the packet for those other ones. It can be data. Video is data, voice is data, right? So you can almost eliminate all of these and go to this one just by that. All right. What data classification level indicates that information should stay within the organizations but not identify as proprietary? Private, confidential, public, sensitive. There's one on there that you can automatically knock off. So we're saying it's private data. So anybody think D is sensitive data? You're saying private data. I don't know, see, when my brain thinks about it, I go private, sensitive, sorry, not private, public, sensitive, confidential. I don't usually use the word verbiage of private. So I'm going to go with private though, because that's what I'm seeing a lot of. Although I'm seeing some B's too. So yes, I'm seeing a lot of B's now. Okay, confidential. So if it was proprietary, that's when I would say it would be confidential. This says it's not proprietary. So let's see, what do we have now? So we're coming in with a lot of D's now as sensitive. Not sensitive either. Wow, I'm surprised on that because that's what I would have done. So private data. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I agree with that. I want to see what their answer is. Private. Yeah, it's not exactly wrong. It's the verbiage that I don't agree with. So like I said, I would have gone for sensitive. Interesting. Yeah, internal uses too is one that we hear about, or we see as well. Anyway, let's move on. SMTP, SMTP can be best described as web-based email reading protocol, email retrieval protocol, host-to-host email protocol, standard defining the format of email messages. So C's, B's, I haven't seen any D's yet. That's good, because it's not a standard. So I'm seeing a lot of C's. I agree. Host-to-host email protocol. Cool. I'm glad that we agree. Next up. Which of the following is a proximity identification device that does not require action by the user and works by responding with access code to signals transmitted by the reader? Proximity identification device. Magnetic card, a card swipe, passive system sensing device, a transponder. So seeing some A's, some C's, some D's. A passive system sensing device, I've never heard of that before, or at least I've never seen that term before. A magnetic card is not proximity, so I'm going to knock that one out too. A card swipe, also that's the same as a magnetic card, so I'm going to go with D, a transponder. Good call, ladies and gents. Good call. All right, moving along. Which of the following would probably not mitigate the threat of session hijacking? Enforce random session ID on servers, use of secure shell, 802.1x, and increasing ARP cache timeouts. So this is a not. So the threat of session hijacking. So remember, you guys, keywords like that. All right, we're seeing some Ds. Lots of Ds are coming through. So increasing ARP cache timeouts. Congratulations, you guys got it. I agree. Cool. Next up, which of the following answers presents part of the attack phase of a penetration test? We talked about penetration testing a bit here and there. Fascinating subject. Could talk about that all day long and then all week long too. So the attack phase, active or passive reconnaissance, escalate privileges, getting a legal document signed, removing all tools and exploits. So this is the attack. So escalating privileges is part of the attack. I agree. Getting legal documents is definitely not. Removing tools and everything, that's cleanup. That's after the attack's been done. Nice. Good work, ladies and gents. All right. Next up is Nessus, Saint, Retina, and Harris stat scanners are designed to conduct what activities in general? Intrusion detection. Oh, you guys are already going for vulnerability assessments. I agree with you guys on that. See, I almost clicked the wrong one. Vulnerability assessments. Very good. Intrusion detection, white box testing, system fingerprinting. Yeah. Cool. All right. Which of the following protocol does not work at the internet layer of TCP model? Internet protocol, DNS, IGMP, or ICMP? I'm going to lean on you guys for this one because my brain does not remember this. So seeing lots of C's, but seeing pretty much everything else as well. Internet, DNS. So we're going to go C. So IGMP does apply here. So next up, seeing a lot of D's and B's. Let's go. There you go. DNS. We're going to show answer on this one just to show you why. And when you break it down here. So this is one of those charts that when I was studying, I would actually write out this chart and I would try and do it by memory. So that way I could commit this information to memory. I might even still have the notebook that has this just page after page of this in it. I can show the question again, yes. Yep. DNS does use port 53 for anybody that's using Amazon services. And they have a service called Route 53. That is DNS. That's their, yeah, exactly. It's I always find it interesting the way that Amazon names their services, because yeah, it's for those who don't know, it's not exactly intuitive, and not everybody knows. Anyway, we're moving along here. We do have more information here if you guys want to get into that. I'll let you guys, as I scroll through slowly, if you guys want to get into that, you guys will be able to get in the video as well. All right. Which of the following is protocol data unit, PDU, of network layer in the OSI model? So this is another one of those. This is this goes back to the drawing out of the how a packet is composed. This goes along with the header and payload piece that I was talking about earlier. I would also draw these out. So I'm seeing a lot of C's in chat. And there you go. You guys are correct. Once again, this is not my specialty, so I apologize. I am leaning on you guys for this. All right. And I just want to see, do they have it? Oh, so it's the same information that it was before the other one. Interesting. This information is good to know though as well. So what makes up the PDU and the different pieces to it, and which piece goes with which layer of the network. OSI diagram, there you go. I'll give you guys a minute on that. All right. Moving along. Go up again. More up. Is that what you're looking for? Definitely. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on. All right. Once again, we've got one of these sort of scenario questions. So warning signs, fences, guards, and traffic shaping signs and street markings are all. So we can look at this and we don't even need to read the question. I do recommend, so I know here we are jumping ahead. We are not going through the question. I'm not going through the question. I do recommend when you guys take the exam, make sure you read the question because it could have a bearing on the answer. Okay, so what are these? They're all physical controls, deterministic, preventive, or deterrent. Warning signs, fences, guards, traffic shaping signs, and such. They are physical controls. We're seeing some C's and D's, a couple B's. I'd honestly say, so physical controls isn't totally wrong, but I'd say they're deterrent controls. Let's see if I'm right. No. See? Don't trust me, guys. Physical controls? Nice. So just a note, and I know it was mentioned before, some of these items, depending on how they're described or the question, could be more than one of these. So sometimes you're going to have something that it's a deterrent, but it could also be preventive at the same time. All right. Next up, it's interesting because both times it saved these big long questions for last. After all other risk management principles have been applied, this principle is observed as the last requirement. This principle must be observed if the business function is to occur. So, risk stopping, risk adherence, risk admission, risk acceptance. Lots of D's. I agree with you guys that this is D. You must accept your risk and you must document it. If possible, have someone sign off on it. If someone's saying like, hey, we're not going to do this, and you say, hey, there's risk involved with this, and you ask them to put their name on it saying, hey, are you the one taking responsibility for it? They might think twice about not doing something. I agree, Ben. I don't think A, B, and C are anything either. These are not things that I've seen. A poem might be, this might be in a poem. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really deal a lot with poems. Something that say with CNMC is I've dabbled in a bit, but we've got people who are much better at that than I am, so usually they handle that sort of thing. All right, another one of these long ones. This type of network security monitoring tool watches the network traffic for security-related events. It can take proactive action to block traffic from reaching targets by being deployed in line between attackers and the targets. So, a couple key items here as you guys are throwing D out there. Um, this is saying it's network security monitoring and it can take proactive action. So it's not detection. Also, it's not host base. So it is intrusion prevention, but these two are wrong because it's looking for network and it is looking for prevention. It's taking action against it. So IPS. Correct. IDS is monitoring, IPS is taking action. All right, and question 20. The pseudo-random string of characters is responsible for encrypting traffic, digitally signing documents, or validating your identity on the internet. So which one of these? A digital certificate, key exchange, certificate of authorities, or key encrypting key, or KEC? Lots of A's out there, which I agree with you guys. That is a digital certificate. All right. Awesome. Cool. We are done here. Submit for grading. Cool. Which we got them all, of course. Congratulations, ladies and gents. It's a lot easier when it's in study mode. I do recommend that, say, like if you guys use something like CCCure where you guys can do the study mode versus the test mode, do make sure you do it on test mode every once in a while, because that's going to make it so that you are having to go through and do a little bit more, like you don't know the answers right then and you have to go back and look at it. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and just taking another one of these is going to be not really going to have time for that. Hey, take it easy, Stephen. Thanks for joining us. These questions are not identical to the exam. I'd say that most of these questions are easier compared to the exam, honestly. The exam is going to do a lot of mixing of different domains. So you're going to have a lot more information in the exams and you're going to really have to go through and pick out the information that you need. So we're going to be wrapping this up. Any other questions, anything that we want to hit before we go? I don't know, Ed. They don't give you that information. I will state that when you take the exam, so your exam can go from 100 to 150 questions. I believe there's 25 not prototype test questions in there that aren't graded. They are questions that they are in a way seeing if they work or not for the exam. So you will have 10 questions that you get on there that you might have no idea about and you never studied because that's the reason why. I took the exam in 2021, so just about 3 years ago. Actually, it's May. I took it in June of 2021. So thank you guys very much. Really, using ChatGPT, I hadn't thought of that. That's actually a really good idea. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you guys Monday back for normal session. Let's see any other questions. For multiple twist questions, trying to scroll. If 3 out of 4 is correct, do you get it correct? I don't know. Honestly, they don't give us that information, unfortunately. How the actual grading and such on the exam works is sort of mysterious. They don't really give you that information. They're very secretive about the questions and how that all works. So with that, thank you guys very much. We're going to go ahead and end it here. Have a wonderful day. Let me know if you guys have anything in Discord that you guys want to share and all that. Not share, but questions and all that. Let me know. That is what we're here for. I will try and get you information on that. If I don't have it, I will get it for you. And yeah, thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening or day or morning or whatever it is. Have a good one, ladies and gents.